Hey, this is Pete with Aerobeez. This is your first look at the 71-inch Aerobeez Extra330. I have laid out here pretty much on the table the entire contents of what we call an ARF kit. We're going to run through exactly what this type of a kit entails and what's included, and answer some of the most common questions that we've been asked by you all about what comes in an ARF kit, what needs to be completed, and what you need to actually purchase to complete an ARF kit. First of all, let's talk about what is an ARF kit. An ARF pretty much means almost ready to fly. Pretty much means that we're going to take an airplane that was used to be pretty much all wood built up and comes already pre-covered, and everything that's included, including the hardware and the terminal things to actually get this built. And then you will supply your own electronics, motor, and pretty much things like that, and your radio system. This 71-inch Extra has been something that I've been waiting for quite some time to arrive at Aerobeez. We have this here in the red, silver, white color variation, as you see in front of us here. And then we also have the tested and flown already, the blue, white, and black version, or there's a little bit of silver trim on there as well, and that's a beautiful airplane. An Extra330 has been around for some time, and it's one of my most favorite airplanes. What I've done is I've realized that this airplane comes in at 71 inches and is extremely light. And the first version, in the blue version, as you have all seen the pictures probably, I have converted it into electric power. And what we're doing with this red version is we're going to also run it as an electric power. A lot of people are using the pretty generic size range of a 6cell 5000 milliamp rating pack and the equivalent power setup for pretty much a 30cc airplane. This we're talking about is a 30cc airplane. However, it is built extremely light, and you can actually opt to choose to use electric power or go to gasoline. Today we're just basically looking at the airframe, and on a different video we'll go ahead and show you some details in regards to what the power plants are and what can be used. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual build of this airplane. This is one of the main wings here. This is the left wing, and this wing is pretty much arrives to you pre-covered. And what's really nice about these now, it's to take the build time off of what you have to actually assemble. The hinge on here, they come pre-glued already, and that usually takes some time to glue these hinges and make sure they're all on straight and nothing is actually off. And it takes a great deal of time off your build because these hinges are pre-glued already, and they're pre-gapped, and they're pretty much ready for you to just install your servo. So we're talking about one main wing here. This is the bottom. What you're only going to do in this main wing is you're going to install your servo and your control surface horn, and that is in a parts package that it's also included as well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. A couple of tips here about these airplanes. When you do receive them, sometimes the covering is not absolutely perfect. This is built up wood understructure, and this is covering. We call that covering. There's many types of covering on the market. They're classified as what companies we used to use all the time called monocoat. There's Oracoat, there's Ultracoat. This covering is really nice, and from what I've noticed with all the kits that we've been carrying here at Aerobeez, the covering has been covering pretty tight, but sometimes when they're in the shipment, they do go through weather variations, and sometimes it does develop some types of wrinkles and those little things, and you could easily take those out with a covering iron or a heat gun. So that is the main wing, and let's go ahead and talk about some of the main key features of this Extra330. One of the main things that I really like with this Extra330 and all of the airplanes so far within above the 20cc category are the tail section. The tail section on this Extra, once again, the entire tail is hinged again, so this is, there's no build time there. A lot of us are really afraid of gluing the tail sections together, and this is where we're taken out of that work. This tail section actually holds together with one carbon rod, and then it's inserted through the tail section, and then you have two bolts here, or screws, that actually screws this to the fuselage. And the benefits of that are, if you damage it, you can also always order the spare parts. If you actually are going to transport it somewhere for a flying event, the tail section comes off very easily with 4 screws, 2 on each side, and you can undo your servo extensions, and you can remove your entire tail section for like shipping or transportation purposes. And also if you have a car that doesn't fit the horizontal stabilizer in there, so that's a good thing as well. I'm not going to be able to get into too much of the actual details with this Extra, as we are still in the building phases, and I only have the blue one done so far, and it's been flying amazing and it tracks super nice, but we'll talk about that in a later on video. The only section that you will be gluing here is going to be your rudder. This rudder comes, once again, pre-covered already. Everything is really nicely done here with all the stripes and everything. And keep in mind, these hinges here are the only ones you're going to be gluing. And you have 3 of them in the rudder. And those are all the hinges that you actually have to glue on this Extra330. And on a separate video, again, where we will talk more about the build, I'll give you more tips and hints on actually gluing the tail section. A lot of you have been talking to me and shown a lot of interest in these airplanes, but you're a little bit hesitant on actually moving forward because you come from an electric aircraft background or a nitromethane aircraft background, and this is where I'm going to interact with you more and more with informational videos. And also you can always post on our Facebook. We're on all the social networks like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can always post questions there, and once I get to it, I'll definitely answer for you, and we'll make this transition into gasoline airplanes a lot easier. However, this airplane here, we're actually going to build it as an electric. This is your main wing tube, and it is carbon as well. It's extremely strong, and it keeps once again, the transportation of this airplane at the lowest amount of headache, as you can say, because everything comes off very easily. It's held on by nylon wing bolts that are included. Okay, one of my most favorite things is this cowling. The cowl is actually painted. This is kind of hard to see out here in this light, but it's beautiful. The texture, the gloss finish is just second to none. It's beautiful. This is a full fiberglass cowling, so it makes you know, the actual building portion of this very easy. And your holes here are already mounted. They're already in place for your cowling mount with 2 screws on each side. We're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about what's even more nice now. This is the included wheel pants with the Extra330, and as well as a lot of the other ARFs carried here at Aerobeez. Big jump forward in what I call, again, taking the build time out of your actual build, is if you look at these wheel pants, these are full fiberglass wheel pants now with reinforced inserts on the inside where it actually mounts to your landing gear. And the best part is this: the holes for the wheel pants are pre-drilled, and blind nuts are already installed on the inside. A lot of us, one of the biggest headaches that we used to have when we were building one of these airplanes, or even a wood-built kit, is when we're done with the airplane, we get all excited and we're going to mount wheel pants, and you don't set your airplane's fuselage angle right, and then you end up with wheel pants that's misaligned to your fuselage, misaligned to your landing gear, and then we get frustrated and we don't want to ever fly airplanes again. I've heard some of that from y'all, and this is what we've been listening to, what you have to say and your feedback. So now these holes are pre-drilled, blind nuts pre-installed. So let's go ahead and talk about the main landing gear. The main landing gear is completely carbon fiber, extremely strong, yet staying extremely light. And right along with the wheel pants, the holes on the actual landing gear are pre-drilled as well. So there's no pre-lining up, no pre-drilling for yourself. This is already pre-done for you from the factory for you to install your axle and then your wheel pants after you've installed your wheels. I've built these airplanes, and literally the install of the landing gear and wheel pant and wheels, usually in some of the kits that I built before, prior to this, it takes me probably 3 hours just to do this portion of it, to line up the holes with the fuselage, all of that. This is all pre-done now. All of these holes are pre-drilled, so you don't have to do that. And I literally can build the entire landing gear and have this fuselage sitting on the main landing gear is probably in about 10 minutes. That's how quickly it is. But we'll talk about that in another segment of the video where we're going to actually go into more of a build. So let's talk about the fuselage. This is what everybody's waiting for. I know my little workspace here is a little bit different, a little bit small. Actually, I'm going to back up. I'm not going to go to the fuselage yet. I'm going to talk about what's really popular nowadays and what people are asking. What are they? Why are you using them? These are now called SFGs, otherwise short for side force generators. And it's like the newest, hottest thing in 3D flight, or even sport aerobatic flight, or even just flying a aerobatic airplane in the sport category. These are mounted to your wingtips, just like that. And these are included, however, these are optional. You can choose to use them or you can choose not to use them. The holes are already inside the SFGs, and these are pre-drilled already on the wingtip with the blind nuts already inserted on the inside. So you can take them on and off if you're going to use wing bags, and the screws are included, so you can take them on if you choose to fly them with them on. You can take them off, put them on if you choose to fly with them on, and if you could take them off if you choose not to use them. My buddy, one of our pro pilots, Aerobeez pro pilot, Santiago, he flies his 50cc Slick 540 without the SFGs, and he just is an excellent pilot. He's able to make that airplane do everything that I can dream of and then some without SFGs. And on my 50cc Slick 540, I actually do use the SFGs. And also, with talking about that, in future videos we're going to bring you more content to where you can see a difference and variation in flying styles between myself and Santiago and a few other pilots that we bring in to fly our airplanes. And just to give you an idea of, hey, not everybody has to be a 3D aerobatic champion or a master at 3D. Don't be intimidated with actually flying 3D. Don't be intimidated to learn how to hover. And that's what we're all here for. We're trying to make this hobby more engaging, more fun, and accessible and reachable for everybody and everybody's goals. So if you think you're never going to 3D, you can think again, because we're going to make some videos and we're going to keep talking, and before we're done, you're going to be able to do some of the coolest 3D moves around. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the fuselage. The canopy here is held on by 2 thumb screws. You can choose to use the thumb screws, or you can choose to use regular hex screws. I like the thumb screws, especially if I'm setting this up for electric, because the electrics, we don't usually set it up with any type of a switch for on and off. However, that's personal preference. You can do that. You can set it up with miracle switches and turn it on and off from the outside, but I choose to always, because we got to get in there to take the batteries in and out, we just always, on electrics, we're used to taking the canopy off and then accessing the interior and then putting it back on when we're going to go to the flight line. It's a little dusty here. I dusted it off, but we're in an outdoor setting, so it's a little dusty. So your canopy here is pre-painted. The lines are extremely straight. Once again, extremely shiny. You can put a bottom in here if you choose to, and stick a pilot in there if you choose to. But we're going to go ahead and set this aside without dropping anything. The interior of this airplane is extremely impressive. We have a whole built-up interior, and it's just structurally reinforced all over the place. However, we're keeping this 330 extremely light. Included is a fuel tank. The fuel tank is plumbed for you and ready for you to actually mount an engine if you choose to actually mount an engine and not go electric. Of course, we will be building one of these in the fuel category, but we really haven't decided if we're going to do this one fuel or another, or do 2 of them electric. I'm still kicking that around, but definitely electric power with this is going to, the performance on the blue one, which I've already flown, is just absolutely off the charts. It's excellent, just rock solid airplane. Okay, let's talk about the motor box here. I'm knocking some ornaments here off the tree. The motor box is completely installed and reinforced for you, and inside of the motor box you will find that triangular braces have been used on all the angles here inside the motor box to strengthen this motor box. And it never hurts for you when you actually pick up these ARFs to do a once over. This is what I always do: a once over and thin CA thin cyanoacrylate or thin super glue can be your best friend in a lot of occasions. I always seem to just make sure, you know, just get some thin CA and a tip. I always seem to just wick some thin CA into the motor box area and then into some integral areas just to make myself feel a little better. I have yet to rip a motor box apart or anything like that, so again, that's personal preference. Because we listen to what you have to say in the ARF category, we've added a lot more glue, changed the consistency of the glue, and it's visible in all of the areas where you can actually see that the glue has been in fact doubled over and a lot more glue is used. However, again, it's personal preference. You can definitely add some more glue to it if you feel better about that. The servos we need to talk about real quick when we need to address this. We were trying to gear this towards keeping this airplane as light as possible for the electric guys. The holes back here are cut out already for the tail servos. It does take 2 tail servos for the elevators. The holes are actually not regular servo size, so keep that in mind. If you're going to use regular servos, it's very simple. Just go ahead and cut out the covering here and then mark your regular servo size and just use an X-Acto. Be careful, X-Acto is very sharp. Dremel tool or a cutoff saw or something like that, and just make that hole a little bit bigger to fit a regular servo size. So keep in mind this hole here, it's made for what I would call the mini servo category. They're like the high-tech HS225 size category, so keep that in mind. On the main wings definitely do use regular servo sizes. Holes already cut out for you, so you're gonna just go ahead and remove the covering for the main wing. And then your rudder on this Extra330 will be pull and be set right here in the center. Let's go ahead and talk about the parts package. The parts package includes, this is what makes these airplanes so very special. When we were building, when I was younger, you literally had to go out and buy every single part to build an airplane. You have to buy the control horns, you have to buy the push rods, you have to buy the control surface arms, all of that stuff. Now, in this package, your wheels, all of your hardware, your push rods, everything is included in here. And the hinges for your control surface horns, they are all fiberglass and they're all ball joints, so they're extremely strong and they're extremely durable. Your tail wheel on here is in this bag as well, and it is a carbon tail wheel with the wheel and a wheel collar. So with that said, everything is in here. Your cable and your pull stuff for the crimps, everything is in this bag to build this airplane aside from your electronics. Also, what's really cool that's included are extended servo arms. So if you're not using the Miracle 1.5-inch aluminum arms or from any other company, you can use your stock servos, the stock servo arms that are included in your stock servos, and you can mount these enlarged servo arms to give you the actual travel that you'd like to have. If you're going to throw down with a heavy 3D, definitely use these arms, and you're going to need to get screws for those. Those screws are not included. They're the little screws with a little bolt on the back, or you can use a self-tapping screw. So that is included, but the screws are not. Wheels in here, wheel axles, everything is in this bag. So this, once again, we're listening to what you all have to say, and we're trying to do what we can to make your transition or your hobby just a lot more enjoyable. Once again, my name is Pete with Aerobeez, and we'd love to interact with you. Below you'll find all the links for all the social networks, and you can go ahead and check us out on there. Follow us on Instagram. And definitely go to Facebook, because Facebook right now is one of the most powerful tools that we're able to communicate with you. A lot of times you post on YouTube videos, it's hard for me to get to those videos and actually see those comments. So the best thing to do is try to get a hold of us by posting on our Facebook page. My name is Pete. I look forward to bringing you all the flight review coming up of this beautiful Extra330, one of my most favorite airplanes. Thank y'all always for your support, and we'll see you on the runway.